Combustion.
Whoa, 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 whoa. They running the game with my team making plays. Talking 80, my G's, 100 jewels in this place. Surrounded by dogs, keep the quarterback safe. I'm the one with the plans, they gon' do what I say. The game is not over, we don't celebrate. In the end zone, we don't got no time in the wait. H-Town run down, we don't premeditate. We just go and get to it, we got them on skates. If the game go into overtime, kicking the overdrive, we gon' be first to the finish line. Play looking full, but I finish mine. Can I get second? We gon' line up like it's dinner time. We put in work till we get us a ring. Super Bowl season, we running the scene. H-Town the home of the realest that breathe. Keep your face down when you talk to the king.
What up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the H-Town Rundown. This is your boy 80, and I got my co-host in the building. We got Clayton in the building. What's up, man? You already know what it is. It is playoff week. And how you feeling?
Feeling good, man. Feeling good, man. It's look for teachers, back to school week, right? But like you said, playoff week, we good to go. How about yourself, man? You all right?
Oh, man, look, another day that we here on this earth is a great day to be a Texan fan because right now the Texans are scheduled to be in the playoffs playing Monday night, not Saturday, Monday night against the good old Pittsburgh Steelers at 7 o'clock.
Yep.
Y'all make sure that y'all go ahead and tune in and watch the Texans ride to victory in Pittsburgh and send Aaron Rodgers to the retirement home. But definitely, man. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great right now. We had a hell of a season. Oh yeah, look. Speaking of, oh you got it. Speaking of Colts fans, yeah, Juan. I mean, shout out to Juan, our favorite Texan / Colts fan. You know, Juan is a avid Colts fan. He bleeds blue. Don't know if it's Liberty blue or that good old Colts blue, but he bleeds blue. Shout out Juan. Yeah, we sending Tomlin to his next team just like John Harbaugh got let go.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
And we'll talk about that too. But this episode is dedicated right now, man. Hold on, what he said. Sal said reminds me of MJ retiring in '93. Hey, it don't matter.
Yeah,
it don't matter how we get it.
It's a win.
Get it a win. It's a win. You can't take it from us, man. Because I don't forgot who won the 2020 Super Bowl. Was it the Chiefs? The Chiefs won it, right?
2020? I think so. 2020.
Ain't nobody's trying to take that away. Ain't nobody trying to take that away.
It might have been 2020.
Yeah, I think it was the Chiefs 2020. That was the COVID year, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we all got a good feeling, Juan. But I do want to, preface that this episode is a review of the regular season. So we're gonna go back and we're gonna figure out how did we get to this place that we're about to be on the Super Bowl run. How was this team constructed? How did we, start the season off? All of these things. What up, Brando? How do we, start the season off so bad? And what was the turning point in the season? How do we get to the 9-game win streak? Who are the unsung heroes of the season? And all of those things. People that we, don't credit enough. That made plays, whether it be coaches or players, that came in and got us to this point where we're about to be on the Super Bowl run. So definitely. Clayton, I'm gonna start this way. What are your thoughts of this season, the regular season? What are your thoughts about it?
First of all, the fact that it's over already is crazy. It feels like just yesterday, man. We were, I was at another brother of mine's house, man, and we were watching the Rams game and, watching the Texans get a ball punched out to fall to 0-1. And what a gut punch that was. And then to fast forward to now, and just, man, it feels like such a blur. But the roller coaster of the season, D'Amico Ryan's going through his first kind of real trial by fire as a head coach. CJ taking it on the chin. The defense standing firm throughout the entire thing, right? Holding down the entire full fort, everything. And watching this offense and these rookies and this rookie play caller find their way throughout the season and really kind of never really putting it together, but doing enough week by week. It's been a lot, man, but I feel like each game has kind of been that same kind of like a microcosm of the entire season. Like you don't know how they got here, but they're here
Yeah.
now. There's been resilience, there's been greediness, there's been tenacity. It's just been a collection of men who've shown a special kind of heart from the top down. And we're going to get into it later, but to become the first team in NFL history to not only once but to twice make the playoffs from an 0-3 record down
Mm-hmm.
and make the playoffs, that's a monumentous thing that you cannot erase, right? So
Yep.
um yeah, man, that's kind of just the tip of the iceberg, but it's crazy that it's already over, but you're excited for what's to come. So
Look, man, this season we came in with Super Bowl aspirations.
yeah.
We pushed the AFC representative Kansas City Chiefs to the brink in a divisional round with a porous offensive line. Look, yeah. So with a porous offensive line and missed opportunities in that game in the divisional round. Um, yeah, I posted it. Yeah.
Boy,
Shout out Aaron Glenn, man, and the Jets, man.
that's crazy, bro. How you a DB as a coach and you, bro?
Well, I
Anyway.
mean, yeah, I mean, there's levels to the Jets dysfunction, man.
Woo, boy.
You know, just to think of it going into the season and all season moves we made. With bringing in a CJ Gardner Johnson, with
Mm,
re-up
I
and
forgot about
Daniil
that.
Hunter.
Woo.
I made a video preseason, and I was like, the Texan secondary is probably going to be the best in the NFL. With Kamari Lassiter, Kalen Bullock coming back for their second years after having excellent rookie years, bringing in a CJ Gardner Johnson, a healthy Jalen Petrie, um, and Derek Stingley, All Pro Derek Stingley. I was like, you're going to have one of the best secondaries in the NFL.
Mm,
That still rang true, even though we didn't have CJ Gardner Johnson after what 4 games he got released. After the
I
fourth
think
game he got
so.
released. Um, but just the myriad of moves and bringing in a Christian Kirk, who not everybody, let me don't say that. A few people thought he was going to be productive for the Texans. With the missing of Tank Dell and you drafting, I'm getting to that one. And drafting Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel in a receiving quarter, replace Stephon Diggs, get younger at the position, and to help you kind of transition with Tank Dell being out for the season. Yeah, man. And so when you look at it going into the season, it was all hype. Texans was on everybody's board.
Yep.
The trendy pick for the Super Bowl at the beginning of the season. Um, and I think I don't like being in that position as a fan because
Mhm.
when everybody is picking your team, that's especially when it comes to the Texans, everything, it torpedoes into an abyss,
Boy.
and the Texans, it goes bad. So,
Mm,
the season started off rough. We were on 3 to start the season. 3, I mean, heartbreaking losses
boy.
in a row.
Non-exaggeration.
And yeah, I
Non-exaggeration.
mean, literally on the what 12-yard line with Dario Gumbuwale fumbling against the Rams. Henry Noah,
Missing
um,
fourth and forever.
Henry Toa missing the tackle against Baker Mayfield. And then going into the Jacksonville Jaguars game, Nico Collins
Fumbled it.
uncharacteristically
Oh my
fumbling the ball, driving down to,
God.
to,
Oh,
to tie the game at the very least, to make it a game in Jacksonville. So again, heartbreaking losses, and again, we still had a chance to tie the game, win the game with CJ Stroud throwing an interception in the end zone. But those were heartbreaking losses, and just looking at the schedule, Clayton, what game do you think turned it around for the Texans?
so I was looking. It's easy to say when they blanked the Titans the first time 26-0,
Mhm,
right? But no, because I wouldn't count that one because you scored 20 points in the fourth quarter of that game. Like you
mhm,
still weren't what you were supposed to be. Um, I won't even count the Ravens game because again, no
Mhm.
Lamar Jackson. That secondary is still one of the worst in football. Now
Mhm.
you handle business, right? But I can't give you that one if we're gonna answer the question of turnaround. I think the real turnaround came in week 8, I believe. Yeah,
Mhm.
week 8 against the 49ers.
Mhm.
I think that that was arguably your best game overall of the season. That's the game where Nico Collins, for those who don't remember, Nico Collins was out with a concussion. And CJ Stroud proceeded, I think that was his highest passer rating game of the year, I believe, so far.
With no Nico Collins, yeah.
With no Nico Collins, that was as fluid and as effective and as assertive as CJ in that offense has been, like
Mhm.
clockwork. And the score really wasn't indicative of, how bad the game was for the 49ers. Like Kyle Shanahan said it, they got whooped.
Mhm.
And I feel like that was really where you could say, okay, the Texans probably got something here, right? Because the defense is going to do what the defense does. But the fact that you now again, for those who think, oh, no Fred Warner, no this, no that, the 49ers at the time still, I think, had the seventh best scoring defense in football, right? So
Mhm.
facts
I
are
don't even I
facts.
don't even think it was the defensive side of the football for the 49ers. I think people want to say, well, they didn't have Brock Purdy, but they still had 23.
That's what I'm
And
saying.
in
You
that
said, yeah,
game, yeah, in that game 23, I don't even think he had 50 yards rushing in that game. We essentially took him out of the game. And I mean, to Mac Jones' credit, Mac Jones had been playing well
yeah,
for the 49ers. Um, and and Juan said it again. I think another challenge turnaround game was the Jacksonville Jaguars game.
absolutely.
Um,
That was probably the game, like
yeah, I
the
think that
game.
was I think the engines got revved up with the 49ers, but it really, we really took off with that Mills comeback win against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Last second run in touchdown of all things. So, yeah, Mills on wheels, game winning touchdown. Yeah, and then to shut out the Jaguars again, I agree, was
29-10 was
and
the
yeah,
deficit.
yeah. And we shut them out in the fourth quarter. And
Yeah.
so I think we scored with 26 points.
Right. And again, not to interrupt you, but people need to understand context matters. The only reason why they got 29 was because that was arguably the worst special teams game of the season. We
Mm-hmm.
spotted them 14 points in nothing but special teams errors. You
Yeah,
take, and I hate to do the if game, you take that away, that's what, 15, right?
yeah,
Like, so they don't even break 20 if the special teams just plays adequately, but continue. Go
yeah.
ahead.
No, I mean that Denver, like, I look at it like this, man, because Brando brought it up. He said the Denver game was a turning point. I think that stretch of 3 games, if we just put it in as a whole, with the 49ers victory, CJ Stroud probably having his best performance of the year. Then you go in and Davis Mills has to come in at the last moment. Not last moment, but CJ Stroud gets knocked out of the game.
Yeah,
Um, and it still came down to a last second field goal.
right.
Um, so it's just the point of that showed you, hey, at the point Denver, I think only had lost 1 game, if I'm not mistaken, at that point in time. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Mhm.
But Denver, I think that was a game where the team was like, hey, even without CJ, we were right there.
Yeah.
And in the whole season, and you look at all
They
5
lost,
losses,
they lost two at that time.
they had lost 2. Okay.
I mean, it's not
So
that much of a difference, but
yeah. Yeah, they were still like the number 1 seed going into that
yeah,
game.
yeah, they were rolling. They were,
Yeah, they were hot. So you look at it, and again, you look at this and at 3 games, period, what the Texans were able to do to kind of figure themselves out
mhm,
and figure out what they're going to be going forward. I think we always realized that the Texans were going to be a defensive team because of D'Amico Ryans, but
yeah,
in those 3 games, the defense showed up in so many different ways. You know, they had been showing up the whole season, but in those 3 games specifically, they kind of turned the tide into being the elite
mhm,
part. When you go look at San Francisco, who, like you said, had was the top 4 scoring offense in the
yep,
NFL,
mhm,
and you basically shut them down. If I'm not mistaken, the score in it, yeah, they only scored 15
26,
points.
15. Yeah.
They have been scoring 20, 30 points a game up to that point. You hold them to 15, even with Mac Jones, whatever, without Brock Purdy.
And it took
Then,
some fluky catches too. No
yeah,
disrespect, but it took some circus catches to even get 15. So
yeah. And so you go in, you have a hell of a defensive performance then, and you're able to run the ball effectively, and you're able to figure out. I think at that point, that was the turning point that you figured out that Woody Marks was your guy.
yeah,
um going forward as the starting running back, and you kind of faded out of the Nick Chubb. Shout out Nick Chubb, who's still been a productive back coming back from those two major surgeries.
hmm
But you kind of figure out what you want to be, and who's going to be the important players as far as your offensive and defensive personnel.
hmm
Then you go into the Denver game, and it took Denver everything they had to even get down to the last second field goal. Let us not forget, it took a crazy Bo Nix breaking three tackles and going, running 30 yards down the field for them to even get in that position, or that's an overtime game.
and then again, we gave them an extra possession at the end. Like I
Yeah.
think it was like 2 minutes left or something like that, and
Mm-hmm.
we tried to throw it down the field, and we gave it back to them. So,
Mm-hmm.
but
Instead of
yeah,
instead of running the clock and doing what we're supposed
right,
to do to make give them a short change or short
yeah, yeah,
time, should I say, to go ahead and convert. But again, like I said, even then, they mismanaged the clock, and again, it took Bo Nix a 30-yard Bo Nix run with breaking three tackles just for them to even get in that position to
yeah,
even kick the game-winning field goal. So, and the defense played a hell of a game. Again, that offense was one of the top in the league, scoring points. They had just, if I'm not mistaken, didn't they just have that Giants game right before that?
right before that. Yeah, well, I think they dropped. Let me
And they had
see.
dropped like 30 points in the fourth quarter.
Actually, no, they dropped 44 against the Cowboys the week before,
Okay, okay,
which is even worse because they scored
yeah,
33 against the Giants, but then they upped it to 44, and then you brought them down to really 15 points
yeah,
after that.
yeah. So I swear I thought that Giants game was before ours.
It was two
Um,
2 weeks before.
it was two. So again, they scored 44 against the Cowboys, and then the week before that, they scored
33.
30 in the fourth quarter.
Right.
So you look at that situation, and then you hold that team to 18 points, 15, like you said, in the last second field goal.
Yeah.
Defense is showing up, proving again. Then you go into the Jacksonville game, and you go into that, and you're down. Like you said, we spotted them 14 points on special teams. A punt return was a punt return and a kick return, right?
It was I
No,
think we
was it a
fumbled.
punt return?
It was a fumble, I think.
But
I
I'm
think it
saying,
was a
what
punt return.
wasn't was it a punt return or a kick return?
Don't get me wrong. It might have been a punt return because I know it was. I think Parker Washington, I
Yeah, it was
believe, was
Parker
who ran it back.
Washington when he did the
So
little,
yeah, the Deshaun
Deshaun,
Jackson.
yeah, Deshaun Jackson laying back in the end zone,
hmm
had me hot about that. But I said it before when that week happened. I was like, that to me, that was one of the most exciting games in the stadium to be in, even more so than the playoff wins the last few years.
mm
It was
Yeah,
a punt
punt return.
return. Thank you, Brando.
Yeah, punt return.
But it was more exciting because it was unexpected.
Yeah,
At both those wild card games, everybody expected the Texans to win because they were the better team. You had some doubt the rookie, CJ's rookie year, D'Amico's rookie first year, with the Browns, because the Browns had just demolished you 2 weeks prior, but that was without CJ.
and the Browns had the number one overall defense too that year.
Right. Exactly. And same thing with the Chargers. Chargers had the number one
Number one
defense.
scoring defense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
number one scoring defense coming into that game. But you look at the performance and you feel like, okay, we're going to win the game or whatever. This was one of those games where everything that could go wrong
yeah,
went wrong. And with Davis Mills at the helm, it doesn't. And I'm gonna roll back just a minute, just a second. As much as people give CJ a lot of flack and a lot of hell, when he plays and talk negatively about CJ, I can say this as a fan. With this defense and CJ Stroud, I don't feel like the Texans are ever just completely out of the game.
Right.
This was Davis Mills playing in this game.
Mm,
So I didn't have the same feeling. And I was with my wife and I told her, I was like, hey, we're gonna stay for this drive. If they score a touchdown, we're gonna stay.
yeah.
If they don't score, let's go
Mm,
ahead and head home. Because at
yeah.
that point, it was like it was Jacksonville was rolling. If they got the ball again, they were gonna score. Um, and it was almost like possession by possession. So the fact that we sitting there and the crowd was jumping and going crazy for Davis Mills on that last second
Mm,
touchdown run, and it was one of the best games I've been to because of the comeback. Um, and sorry about that story time. But it was just that those
it's
three
history.
games I feel like was the momentum swing that the Texans needed to
Mm,
kind of parlay them into what we see now, which is the 9 game win streak. That game was the start of the 9 game win streak.
yep.
Um, and then you go on from there, and again you play Tennessee in Tennessee. It's gonna be a tough game. Then you have the Buffalo game. I know they were talking about it in the comments about the Buffalo game. That again was another crazy, stellar defensive performance that identified the identity of this team and giving the defense their props. 8 sacks on Josh
Listen,
Allen.
they did that to the Lions last year and
Hmm.
should have won.
Yeah.
Like it look, there was 5 picks last year. Like five. And you
Hmm.
lose that game on two of the ugliest field goal kicks you'll ever see. No
Hmm.
disrespect, but I'm talking about you couldn't. I'm talking about this man must have scraped both sides of the uprights and kicked him in. I remember how I felt, but nah, man. To your point about the Buffalo thing, nah, absolutely. Like the way, and again, that was a come from behind game too. We didn't have
Hmm.
that wasn't wire to wire, and but again
Hmm.
though, it was the Texans following an offensive formula, getting guys involved at that point. Christian Kirk, I think that was his first touchdown reception of the year.
Hmm.
So like Woody Marks kind of had his little first game where he like was dragging dudes across the first down marker. So
Hmm.
that really felt like the defense not had a ride, but like the like you said, the defense really stamped like we can do this against anybody.
Yeah.
Like brought up what Denver did 2 weeks before the Texans game. The week before Buffalo Houston, Josh Allen had 6 touchdowns by himself,
Hmm. Yep.
3 passing, 3 rushing. And
Yep.
to make him look like that, like
Hmm.
you made him look like rookie year Josh Allen all over again. Where you had this man running in the backfield in circles, taking 20 plus
For
yards.
his life. For his
Bro,
life.
listen, you had this man not knowing what to do, the whole offense in the chokehold. And it again, even for Buffalo to make it close, they had to resort to hook and ladder type methodology
Hmm.
just to have a chance against you.
Yeah. So look, I'm telling you, like, you riding a high at this point because you look, and that's why I'm like, it got me nervous again because we beat Buffalo and it was a dominant performance. It was a dominant performance, and we beat Buffalo, and then you next thing you know, now we're the darlings again.
Mhm.
Now can the Texans are at that point, I think the Texans were
I
what
think we're
were
at 6-5
we?
at that
Yeah,
point.
I think we had just got
Beat
over
Buffalo.
500.
Yeah, beat
We
Buffalo. They
just
made them 6-5.
made them 6-5. We just got over 500.
That's
And shout
crazy.
out Graffa. Graffa. Um,
That's crazy, man.
but
Groff and
at
all
that
caps.
point in time, we had just crossed the 500 mark, and now we became the darlings again. We became the darlings again, and that got me nervous. I'm like, here we go. I don't want to be on the right side because when we're on that side,
Just that
they,
man
they
Brando.
yeah, shout out
Statistician.
Brenda. Um,
Bro, isn't that unhealthy? Like the fact that
yeah,
we can't have nice things
look,
without just feeling like it's about to fall apart.
and that's the blessing and the curse of being a Texan fan because we've experienced the highest of highs and the lowest of lows.
So
The
many
last
levels.
time, and unfortunately, the last time we won 12 games, we were 12-1
Mm,
back in 2012,
2012.
and we ended the season on a 4-game losing streak.
Bro, I
When
remember that
and
year.
all we had to do was win one game, and we're the number one seed in the playoffs,
I remember that year.
and we lose to the lowly Vikings at the time. Adrian Peterson runs up and down on us, and we end up on a 4-game losing streak, and I'm sorry, a 3-game losing streak, and we miss out on the number one seed of the playoffs, and it was heartbreaking because then we don't have to play the Patriots in the second round, who went on to play in the Super Bowl and these things. So it's just a lot of trauma as a Texan fan. So
Boy,
you
what?
gotta you gotta bear with us, but you look at it now and then that just snowballed into consistency and stacking games and stacking days. And you go in the next week, you play the Colts, and the Colts riding high.
Mm-hmm.
Colts fans talking all that trash and
Talking greasy,
all that, and
real greasy.
we end up CJ has another stellar game. Even though
DCL.
he threw an interception, that's his first game back from the concussion.
And again, that was we talked about off stream. That was just
Mhm.
undisciplined CJ. That was not, oh
Yeah.
man, tip pass and the coach really took that one. No,
No, no, it
no,
was
that
it,
was
it
not
was it
that.
was it was a gift.
That was a what?
And but again, that was CJ Stroud's probably another one of his best games of the season. We
Yeah.
talked about his best game um being the San Francisco game.
Mm-hmm.
And then we are at this point where CJ Stroud has another good game. I think it was over 200 yards, no touchdowns. But did he have a touchdown in that game? I thought he had threw a touchdown to Woody Marks that game.
Against the Colts.
Yeah, I thought he had threw a touchdown to Woody Marks that game, if I'm not
I'll look it
mistaken.
up. Or matter of fact, Brando might have it before I do.
Yeah, Brando.
Brando being a statistician, but
But
hey, nope, no touchdown passes. That was the game where Nico got the touchdown on that
on
little
that reverse, yeah,
yeah,
end around, yeah.
yeah.
So, and I look at it like this, and I'm like, okay, we got the Colts. We beat the Colts. I mean, it's the Stroud House. Stroud House. Um. Okay, Nico stepped out of
Yeah.
bounds.
Yeah, that was
Okay.
that game. Yeah. Nico
Yeah.
could have had him one, but he stepped out of bounds.
Yeah.
But Nico and
Um.
Brevin got that bad, boy. They will CJ and Nico ever hook up for like a good fade ball? That's just I
We
just
tried. Look, they tried it on a out and up fade on against the Buccaneers, and
that
he
was
caught that. Yeah,
man.
that one he caught. Didn't he catch it? No, he dropped that one,
No.
but he caught
And
one in that game. He did catch one. He did catch a fade route.
I'm
To
sorry,
Nico
I mean a
Collins.
goal line fade ball. I'm sorry, not
Okay.
the Texans get the cheapies. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
bro, you know what I mean. I mean
Yeah.
like a good old fashioned goal line fade ball. Take a
Yeah.
step back and just float one up, go
Hmm.
get you one.
But look, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. We need CJ to be healthy the full season and Nico as well.
Mhm.
But again, shout out to Nico who also had another 1,000-yard season, third in a row.
Yes, sir.
Um, it's amazing what a good quarterback will do for you.
Mhm.
Um, but then we go into the next game, and it's like, okay, here we go. Got to play the dreaded, Chiefs.
Yep.
We already canceled one of the fears when we beat the Ravens in Baltimore. And then we go into the Chiefs game where the Chiefs have everything to play for. The Chiefs win this game. Statistically, they're in the playoffs. They lose this game, statistically, there's no way for them to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Um, so I look at it as a game where the defense played amazing again. Jalen Petrie, one of his best games of his career. Against that, he had the highlight play that still goes around where he Sonic ring Rashid Rice. And he also had the tip to himself
Mhm.
interception. That defense was amazing. CJ Stroud played well enough to win that game.
Mhm.
And again, I think that game ended with Woody Marks closing it out, running the football. And so what did he say? Outside of the defense, that was one of the biggest contributions to the win streak. Yeah. Yeah. And I look at it again, man. We rolling in and we talking about the win streak now because we
Mhm.
didn't lose a game again the
Which
rest
is
of the
crazy.
season. So it's the ups and downs and the trials and tribulations and yes, we've had a yeah, Noah doing the Ray Lewis dance. Was it Noah? Yeah, it was
Yeah,
Noah.
yeah,
It
it
was
was.
Noah.
Out of
Um,
all the ones he could have picked.
yeah, and so look, hey, that's the time to do it. That was his first touchdown too.
It's that it was a rookie. I'm talking about like first TD.
Yeah,
Just
hey,
that's the one.
that's the one you got. That's the one,
That's the
man.
one.
You got
Yep.
to break it out. If it wasn't him, it would have been he. Somebody should have broke it out. Um, but you go in there again. You beat the Chiefs, and now again you're on a high. You only got a few weeks left in the season,
Yeah.
and you got two lowly teams in the Cardinals and the Raiders. And you go in and you take care of business, albeit in the Raiders game is a little shaky,
Yeah.
but you take care of business in those games, and you take care of business against the Chargers, and you do that. And the Chargers game, of course, shout out to Wheelhouse Media, shout out to Stressens,
Mhm.
Ruben, and Harley, and we had a great time because the H-Town Rundown was there. All three of us, as Birdman would say, um, me, Clayton, and Jules were in attendance watching that game, and that game was important too because you win that game, locks you into the
Playoffs.
playoffs. No
Yep.
matter what, you're in the playoffs, and the Texans defense again had a hell of a game. CJ Stroud had an awesome first quarter. Probably the best first quarter of his career. With those two deep shots to Noel and Jaden
Absolutely.
Higgins. So just to and to kind of round out the season, you go into this really nothing to win or nothing to lose because you're not. If you lose a game against the Colts to end the season, you're not out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
But you're fighting for the fifth seed, but now you have to put your trust in the backups because you got to rest your players.
Yeah.
I know D'Amico is kind of anti, but you still at the end of the day you got to rest your players.
Of course. Yeah.
Woody Marks got his well deserved rest because I think we had a kind of run and Joe Woody Marks was in the blue tent every week, man. Like every week we saw Woody Marks in the blue tent, and he needed that day. He needed that game to kind of rest and reserve.
Soon, bro.
Yeah, we do. Hey, we're gonna talk about that on Friday, man.
Hey, real quick, I'm gonna let you roll to kind of touch on the Chargers game again, real quick. People need to understand something, right? I
Mhm.
do not try to be blame the referee guy. I really don't try to be, right? But the referee saved Justin Herbert.
Oh,
People
oh,
don't
yeah.
understand that was about to be a complete demolition job.
Mm-hmm.
If you remove half of those flags, heck, keep some of them.
Yeah.
That was easily on pace to be an 8 to 10 sack game for this Texas.
Mm-hmm.
It was that bad.
Yeah.
It was that bad. And the referees, they were bad both ways. So we can't say it like they just
No,
felt
I'm not gonna say that
nah.
because the Chargers didn't get a penalty until the fourth quarter.
Well, I say both ways because at the end it benefited us finally. Like we
Yeah.
got our one or two, but you're right. There was a point in time when the Chargers didn't have a single penalty and we had 6-4. I forget how much, but it
Mm-hmm.
was that bad. Um, like literally handing them like 2 touchdowns worth of penalties. Like literally that's what that was. Outside of that, the Chargers weren't moving the ball. Like I'm sorry,
Yeah.
that was game. That was it. It would have been
Another crazy,
boy.
great defensive performance.
Boy, that
Yeah.
was that was gonna be one of those like, man, yeah, just flush it. If you're a Charger, you don't even watch the tape. Like, just flush it. There's nothing watching there. But the
Yeah.
refs helped him, and I hope not. Like, Juan, bro, listen, I hope it's nothing personal against Clay Martin, but I don't know a bunch of referees by name. That don't mean I don't respect them, but ideally, as a referee, your job is to not be at the center of the game.
Yeah.
I
It's
know
not,
Clay
yeah.
Martin's name specifically,
Mm-hmm.
right? Every time I see that jawline, I know it's going to be some mess every single time.
Yeah.
And that's why I just hope that the officials let the Texans play their brand of football, right? Let both teams play. Let these men handle it. We
Mm-hmm.
still kind of iffy about last year. You might have lost anyway, but we still kind of iffy about the fact that, you know, some phantom calls went the Chiefs' way last year, right? We
Yeah.
don't want that again. And when Petrie laid Rice out, that kind of told me, oh, maybe there is hope that the Texans can be allowed to play their brand of football. Because
Oh yeah, that we thought that was gonna be a
oh,
ejection, right?
he
Yeah.
absolutely He laid him out in a way that you would see them old school 2000s highlight, YouTube video.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Laid him out. No flag. Clean.
And look, and that's the part about it is that the physicality. I'm glad you brought that up. Is that the physicality that this defense has played with to me is unmatched. And I'm looking at it right now. You go through the schedule out of 17 games, the Texans have only given up over 20 points 4 times. They've only given up 20 points, like at least 20 points 6 times.
Mm,
So 11 of those 17 games, they've given up less than 20 points to
mm,
the other teams that they're playing across from them. This defense is special.
mm.
Um, and again, this defense is historic. Outside of that last Coast game, that
You
kind
can't
of
really count it.
stat wise or whatever. But again, you're talking about backups, third string, fourth string.
Yeah,
I said again, we were on like our sixth safety.
right.
But again, these things are all, workable and fixable. But shout out to the defense, man. And I want to transition because we're talking about the season and everything like that. I want to transition into the unsung heroes and whether it be coaches, players, people that got us to where we are,
Mm,
that made the Texans who they are as a team and showed how important they are.
mm.
Um, I know everybody's going to bring up talk about Davis Mills and the three
Yeah.
games that he played, how important he was to right the ship and not sink the
Freeman.
ship. Yeah, what up, Freeman?
Freeman.
Um, to not sink the ship and to keep the ship afloat. Um, I agree, Groff, for the greatest Texans defense we've ever seen. Um, no doubt. And Brando's talking about Trent Brown, Nick Casario, but I know everybody wants to start with Davis Mills. There's one coach that I want to bring up, and it's not D'Amico Ryans. And I'm sorry, it's not for damn sure. It's not Nick Cayley,
I'm about to say.
um,
I'm about to say.
but it is Cole Popovich. This offensive line last year in 2024 season was arguably one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL. You go into this offseason and you trade your best lineman in Laramie Tunsil away. And you got the what the hell are the Texans doing?
Mm,
What are they doing? You trading your best lineman. You get rid of Shaq Mason, who's another veteran.
yep.
Um,
You
you
traded.
know,
You traded. Oh my goodness, for C.J. Gardner Johnson. Um.
talking about Kenyon Green. You got
There
rid
you
of Kenyon Green, who was a first round draft pick, who disappointed, and prayers up to Kenyon Green. Hopefully, he can make a way someday.
go. Eagles cut him too, boy. You know what the
Yeah,
Eagles is.
they cut him 3 times. So I look at it like this. If I'm not mistaken, he's still on their roster though.
Maybe.
But I look at it like this. Cole Popovich took a hodgepodge. Is that how you say it? A
Hodgepodge.
hodgepodge of
Mhm.
players outside of Titus Howard. You had rejects from Minnesota Vikings and Ed Ingram. Exactly. Shout out to Titus for stepping up and taking on that role. And you brought in a reject from the Vikings and Ed Ingram. You brought in a reject from the Seahawks and Laken Tomlinson, and it is what it is. But and then you brought in a reject from the Patriots and Jake Andrews, and you brought in and you drafted a guy who I think was the sixth or seventh tackle drafted in the
Something
second round, and Ariante Ursary, and you brought him in, and you brought in the Cam Robinson, a reject from the Jaguars and Minnesota Vikings as well. And you brought all these players in, and you just said, let us figure it out. Let us, we're going to try all these different lineups and everything like that. And if I'm not mistaken, this was the least amount of times that CJ Stroud was sacked his whole career as a Houston Texan.
only second in the AFC to Bo Nix.
to Bo Nix.
this year.
I
Yep.
think he got sacked what, less than 30 times or right at 30?
I think CJ got sacked 23 times. I think
And
Ron
so
McClain, I think, talked about that.
and so the the job that Cole Popovich has done to finally get the right players in place with the Trent Browns as well,
Mhm.
another reject that people thought he should have went ahead and retired. Why are we even bringing in Trent Brown? But you get Trent Brown to play well. You get Ed Ingram at the beginning of the season. You get Ed Ingram in, and he's playing the best he's ever played in his whole career.
My pancaking dudes.
Highlight tape film.
Flapjacks.
And then you get Ariante Ursary in, and you make him a franchise left tackle. When I think, if in all honesty, and let's put it down, lay it down, he only had one really welcome to the NFL game, and I think that was against Jacksonville.
Mhm.
And so,
That's right. Yeah.
and when Hines Allen went crazy on him, but
Mhm.
you look at it, and again, we still won that game, even with all that. But or either one, I'm forgot. But you look at it again, and you put these pieces together, and you were able to Titus Howard proved he's the best offensive lineman we have because he
Mhm.
was great at guard and he was great at tackle.
Yep.
So shout out to Cole Popovich for putting the pieces in place to give CJ Stroud time to make this offensive line work. Um, and be and I think we said going into the season, Clayton, we just need the offensive line to be at least average.
Yep.
Today we can say this offensive line is above average. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah, it is. It's the least amount of sacks in his career. And you can tell that CJ Stroud has benefited from it.
Mhm.
Exactly, Brando. No sacks the last 3 games as well. So again, shout out Cole Popovich. That's my soapbox for coach that doesn't get the credit as much. I know people talk about him here and there, but
Mhm.
Cole Popovich deserves, a lot of praise for what he's able to do for the Houston Texans offensive line.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you go next. Go.
I have to say that's hard to follow. That's really hard to follow. That was an impassioned speech right there. That was really really meaty right there. Um, yeah, man, that's hard to follow. I'm gonna try though. But no, to your point again, for those who really are not into the nuts and bolts of NFL football, AD, you say it all the time. You got to start with the trenches.
Mm-hmm.
Defensive line, offensive line. You cannot run a functioning offense if you cannot keep your quarterback upright.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot run the ball if you cannot generate a yard or two of push, right? You
Mm-hmm.
can't do it. There's a reason why the Texans are one of the worst red zone teams in football. A lot of that has to do with earlier struggles, yes, but again, push and all that good stuff. But anyway, yeah, that's hard to follow up with. So I will go with my unsung. Does it have to be coach or
It can be player, it can be front office personnel, it can be anybody.
I got you.
Hell, it can be the janitor. It can be that person that clean up the stadium.
Mm. You know what? I'm gonna go a little bit unconventional with this unsung. I got two names in my mind because they're not unsung, but they are
Mm-hmm.
because they're two of the most scrutinized figures in the organization, very well known, but they're unsung in that you know, like people can't wait for them to fail, or they want to find reasons to get rid of them. But actually, you know what? I changed my mind. Brando, doggone it, you right. Matt Burke.
Mm.
Matt Burke. Brando, doggone it. I was about to say either Nick Casario, CJ Stroud, but I like Matt Burke better. You know why? Because Matt Burke took over defensive play calling after week 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
The story goes the Miko Ryans, he made the decision to take a step back, become more of the CEO coach, as people say, to where now he needs to have oversight over the whole operation, right? He had to figure out what's going on across the board: offense, defense, special teams, heck, janitor, all the kind of stuff like that, training staff, everything, right? So it needed somebody to run his baby, to run his offense. I mean, I'm sorry, to run his defense, right? And Matt Burke, he stepped up to the plate. You know, Matt Burke has been the guy calling plays. According to all reports, accounts, eyewitness, like he has been the guy. Hence
Mm-hmm.
why his name has come up in the hiring cycle, right? And I listen, Matt Burke has gone from a guy to where you can legit ask, what does he do here?
Mm-hmm.
To he's that guy on the defense who's captaining that ship of a legendary defense in Houston, right? Like he's calling those plays, he's putting up these sets. Like he's the madman with the headset on the sidelines who's weaponizing Jalen Petrie, who's sending Kalen Bullock, who got Kamari Lassiter putting up defensive end numbers in the secondary, right? Like
Yeah.
he's that guy. And a lot of this does not work if Matt Burke does not work out. If he
Mm-hmm.
does not manage his defense well and keep them in line, and bro, not just don't crash the car. He found another gear somewhere,
Yeah.
right? And he helped to add something there with his own ownership. So I want to shout out Matt Burke, man. Without his contributions, without him stepping up and
Mm-hmm.
really helping D'Amico be able to be more hands off with the defense and help D'Amico expand his role and his scope and really get on the rest of the team. And like you said, he's coaching his coaches now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like none of this works if Matt Burke doesn't work out, right? So shout out to him. And can I sprinkle a little bit of why I was going to
Yeah,
say
keep
CJ and
going.
Nick? So the reason why I was going to say CJ and Nick, excuse me, um, is because even though they're two very well-known names, they're unsung because of the sheer volume of scrutiny that they get unjustly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like starting with Casario, say what you will, I know I've said it, about how he got here. The fact is, he's been here since 2021, and he has engineered one of the greatest turnarounds in NFL history from a roster building standpoint. The salary cap was a disaster. The roster was trash. You were barren of everything. And when he swung that trade with Cleveland and trade Deshaun Watson, get you all those first rounders, and like you've seen the graphic a whole bunch of times. I don't got to go over it,
Mm-hmm.
but the trade that just keeps on giving, right?
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he got you CJ Stroud, then he traded with Arizona and got you Will Anderson, who's arguably going to finish as maybe your second, third, or fourth greatest defensive player in franchise history if everything stays, consistent and he progresses. Add that to his ledger. The fact that he's built one of the best secondaries in football, the fact that this whole defense is young, hungry, tough, smart, dependable, all those Bill O'Brienisms, like the
Mm-hmm.
fact that he built the layers and layers of players that we were promised when Bill O'Brien was here. Nick Casario actually did that, right? And he kept the money good and flexible. He has us in position to stay young for a long time. We still got draft picks coming up due to Washington
Mm-hmm.
and Giants. So Nick Casario has been more than doing his job. That's why I can't bring myself to say fire Casario because I can't ignore what he's built. I can't. When the national media is looking at the Texans and how they've rebuilt and said this is the standard for how you do it, we don't get that treatment for anything.
Mm-hmm.
And you got the Texans up there now as the standard for team building. That says a whole lot, right? That's why I said Casario's unsung because a lot of people want him fired, but it's like he's probably a top 5 GM
Yeah.
right now. There's Howie Roseman. There's probably another guy or two, but Casario is right there.
I
And
don't
then
want to. I'm gonna go. Look, before you get to CJ, I don't want to pee in your Kool Aid, but I'm still on the point of fire. I'm still on the board of fire scenario. But go ahead with CJ, man.
dang, bro, I done heard a lot of ways to rain in your parade to throw water on the situation. This man said, "Pee in your bro." Remind me, don't accept drinks from you, but uh, put me one of them little cup covers on it. Right. Again, yes, Nick Casario is not perfect, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you this: for a lot of Rick Smith fans, what was the knock against Rick Smith? If you remember, a lot of people said he couldn't
He
draft.
could hit a home run on the first round. After that, it
Exactly.
was
Exactly, right? So Nick Casario hits in the first round, second round, third, fourth, fifth. Jawar Jordan is a what? Sixth rounder,
round pick,
right?
yeah.
Okay. So anyway, now to CJ, and I'm gonna keep it brief because I kind of was long-winded on Casario. Because do people understand that CJ Stroud already has set the mark in franchise history for most playoff wins by a single QB? In Texas history. I don't think we talk about that enough. The fact that this man just passed up John Elway for second most wins by a first or second round, first or second overall pick, in NFL history, right? The fact that CJ Stroud has put up what now, 12 wins this year, 32-5, a 32-19 record, has known nothing but playoff football since being here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do people understand that? And real quick, you know what? I'm gonna shut up after this. I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna shut up, bro. I've been sitting on this. You said it, but I'm gonna add on to it. If I hear another person say, "Where's rookie season CJ Stroud?" like, I might flip my biscuits because it it's becoming one of the most laziest things to say when I hear that now. I get what people are trying to say. I guess you just think NFL defenses are supposed to be like, you know what? Yeah, go ahead and keep on torching us for 400 yards, 5 TDs, and 156 passer rating, right? The fact that defenses have adjusted to CJ Stroud, that is itself is a compliment. If the defenses thought you were a scrub, they would just let you be a scrub. They don't care about you because you're going to beat yourself. The fact that defenses have now been built to stop you from using your strengths and is forcing you to have to adapt, okay, that's number one, right? The second thing is all the metrics say this. CJ Stroud is playing his most mature ball. You may not like it aesthetically. It may not be the deep ball every time, but it kind of goes to my first point. Mature NFL football understands when it's time to hand off the football.
Mm-hmm.
Mature NFL football understands I would rather throw the ball 20 to 25 times and win multiple Super Bowls than to force it 50 times, put up gaudy stats, and never make it to a championship or win only one, right? So to get off of my soapbox, AD, if you will, that's why I was going to say Nick Casario and CJ Stroud. They're two well-known names, but people are just, I guess not counting Casario for you, but, you know, people have to understand what it takes to not only build a winner, but to sustain winning in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
NFL history is littered with one and done teams all over the NFL, right? Parity, yes, that's systemic in NFL. But the fact that there are so many teams that just go up and down, up and down, the Texans, for the first time in their franchise history, have 3 playoff berths in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Every time before this, they've gone playoff, playoff, toilet, playoff,
Mm-hmm.
playoff, toilet, playoff,
Mm-hmm.
playoff, toilet. Look it up. We're not lying here. The fact that they have found a winning formula and everybody is buying in, yes, it's imperfect, but from Casario to CJ to Matt Burke, everybody is buying in and doing what it takes to win, right? And it's not going to be the most aesthetically pleasing, but it wins football games. Nobody cared when the Chiefs were winning games by 1 point all season last year
Last second,
and almost won the
everything.
Super Bowl
Yeah.
doing it. So stop saying stuff now. So
Yeah.
I'm not gonna feed into none of that stuff, right? Like he's in year 3. The man just turned 24 years old. He's one of the best quarterbacks in football when he's on, right? And
Mm-hmm.
yes, nobody can win a championship by themselves. Jordan didn't do it. LeBron didn't do it. Kobe didn't do it. CJ Stroud can't run, block, pass, protect, pull out the water bottles. Like he may not be what you want him to be, but he wins football games, and I'll take that all day.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm
Look, look. I'm gonna say this. C.J. Stroud deserves the criticism and the critique because heavy is the head that wears the crown.
sure.
Because he is the franchise quarterback, so he is always going to be the most scrutinized player on the Houston Texans, regardless. And that comes with the job. Yes, C.J. Stroud has some things to work on, and that's fine. But again, he has again played very, very well. Um, and CJ Stroud is getting there. And again, if CJ Stroud just again limits turnovers and the defense is going to give you the game to win.
Mhm.
Um, and they're going to give you the game to win the Super Bowl. Um, and you speaking of players, there's a few players I want to mention that don't I'll start that don't get enough credit, that get pushed in the background. Um, you know, I'll start by one of the most obvious is the Neil Hunter is one
Mhm.
of them the
Mhm.
most unsung hit guys. Another
Disrespected.
14 disrespected,
Disrespected. Call
didn't
it what it
even
is.
didn't make a Pro Bowl.
That's crazy.
Should be an All Pro. 14 sacks. Another 14 sack season, his third of his career that he's had 14 or more sacks. Shout out to Daniil Hunter. I'm gonna stay on the defensive side of the football. Tommy Togiai.
Mm.
Tommy T. Oos. Shout out Oos, and he's played a hell of a year. He's had a hell of a season, and he essentially has entrenched himself as a starting defensive tackle for this team, and he's played extremely well. I'll go on the offensive side of the football, and I'll shout out Woody Marks. Woody Marks has stepped up and played extremely well, and now he's your go-to back in a season where you weren't expecting him to be there. You was expecting him to be a complimentary back, but Joe Mixon injury happened, and I'm not gonna go down that rabbit hole of drama with Joe Mixon, but the Joe Mixon injury happened. Nick Chubb isn't what he was. He's not the Nick Chubb of old.
Mm.
He's just the old Nick Chubb.
He's Nicholas.
You
He's
know,
Nicholas.
and so shout out Woody Marks for stepping up and stepping into that role and running with it. No pun intended. Or pun intended. And another is the two rookie wide receivers, man. Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel. Jalen Noel taking over the special team duties and punt return and kick return when you know shout out Damian Pierce, but we needed somebody to take that role away, and Jalen Noel has stepped up and was able to handle business in that role. And he hasn't seen as much time on the offense, but like I'm telling y'all, and I've been telling y'all, it's just not his time right now, and that's okay. And that's okay. Um, and shout out to my wide receiver 7, wide receiver 6, Jaden Higgins. Being timely throughout
Mm.
the season when needed. You know, you welcome fans. You welcome. Um, the motivation tactics have
I
worked.
see the disgust in
Yeah,
your face. You just, it's just
the motivation tactics have worked for Jaden Higgins all season long. He has been productive and he has been timely. And when he is given opportunities, he has shown up and he has produced. So shout out Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel and Woody Marks on the offensive side. 3 rookies who are key contributors to this offensive side of the ball. Um, again, Ariante Ursery. So
Mm-hmm.
four rookies, should I say, that are heavily contributing to this
That's crazy.
offensive
You're
side of
right,
the
man. We
ball.
got
Yeah. Super
that's
young, super young.
should you could you count Jawar technically since he was never been I mean, I know he's not a real rookie, but like
Yeah, and him at the end of the season, yeah, giving Woody a break, and giving him and being able to step in when Woody was hurt, as well as Nick Chubb being out. You got Jawar Jordan, who is the only running back to have 100 yards
oh,
this season,
that's so pathetic.
and
Oh my
so
gosh, bro. That's so pathetic, bro.
yeah,
Oh,
and look, Exo, you missed it earlier, and we talked about. I gave that came with the whole Cole Popovich spiel when I talked
yeah.
about giving Cole Popovich his flowers. Um, and definitely he deserves it. But again, shout out the rookies on this team that are making impacts,
Yeah.
young players that are making impacts on this team. Um, and I know he's getting a lot of hype now, but coming into the season, nobody really talked about him as much as they should have, and that's good old Kamari Lassiter.
Mm, mm.
Kamari Lassiter has transitioned himself into arguably a top 5 cornerback in the NFL. When you have an all pro on one side and Derek Stingley, who's not going to get targeted at all,
Mm-mm.
Kamari Lassiter is going to get all the targets, and he has showed up and proven day in, day out, and has made himself
So much,
money,
so
so
much,
much money,
so much
and
money.
he has made himself, if I'm not mistaken, he may be an all pro this year.
Bro, listen,
Go
man.
ahead.
Bro, look, I was gonna let you cook. I was just gonna say something real stupid sounding, but it made sense in my mind. You remember Texans fans? I remember there was a time where we had D Hop and Will Fuller, right? And like you couldn't convince me that at that time that they weren't the best duo wide receiving core in football if everything broke right. Because D Hop was the do it all
Yeah.
receiver, possession, deep threat, anything you needed, he got it. Best hands in the league, arguably.
Yeah.
Then you got Will Fuller on the other side who could pop you for 250 and 4 touchdowns, you know, without breaking the sweat. if he could just stay
Mhm.
healthy. I feel like that's what you're looking at with like in a weird way with Kamari and Stingley. Like their skill sets mesh so beautifully well defensively. You got Derek Stingley, who's like, I guess the D hop, if you will, the do it all cornerback who can take you deep, who can
All
block you
pro.
for the all
Yeah,
pro, anything you need. You can flip him to the offensive side of the ball. Stingley could probably get you 1 or 2 touchdowns. And then you got Lassiter, who just like I did not know coming out of Georgia, right? Like that he was going to have the ball skills that he has now.
mm,
I knew that he was going to be somebody who would harass you, make it ugly, like crowd you, and make the catches hard. But bro, I didn't see the ball skills coming. I'm not saying it's Stingley like, but if you throw it in his direction, he's going to take it from you.
yeah,
Like, and it's not fluky. Like, it's not like some tip stuff. Like, no, I'm taking the ball from you, and you're gonna like it. That's what Lassiter does. Bro, I did a piece on Lassiter. Do you know Lassiter leads the team in solo tackles?
really.
He, he leads, I guess,
More than Aziz?
of course, asterisk next to that after the game. But at the
Mhm.
time of when I got this information, no. So you got to specify total tackles. Aziz is one, and Toa was two.
Mhm.
Lassiter was number 3 in total tackles, and he cleared Petrie by 20 for spot number 4.
Wow.
Solo tackles, Lassiter stood by himself at cornerback for solo tackles on a team with Henry Toto, Will Anderson, Daniil Hunter, Aziz Al-Shair, all this stuff. That's why I
Mhm.
said Kamari Lassiter is a pass rusher who just happens to play corner and who's darn good at it. He'll hit you. He'll take the
Yeah.
ball from you. Bro, he's tied with Derek Barnett for most TFL, well, not most, fourth most TFLs on the team with 7.
Mhm.
Like, again, he plays multiple levels of defensive football with proficiency. This, when we say this man has made so much money, bro, and he can do backflips. So it's like, bro, listen, he does a little bit of everything. And the fact that you got them both young,
Mhm.
like, if you the Texans, I'm not gonna lie, like you got Stingley, look, bro, you better have some money for Lassiter somewhere. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I need Lassiter on this team. He just does so much for you on this football team. And if he wins All Pro at all this year, you got two All Bro. Listen, Derek Stingley was already the first All Pro in franchise
It's
history.
gonna be a repeat.
And the fact that you got two of them, that's another feather in Casario's cap. Like,
You
I'm
may
sorry,
have 4 all pros on your defense with your 2 starting corners and your 2 edges.
bro.
Even though Daniil Hunter did not make a Pro Bowl, Daniil
That's right.
Hunter, with being, I think he's top 3 in the league in sacks,
Mm-hmm.
he's likely to get a Pro Bowl nod alongside Will Anderson. Not a Pro Bowl, I'm sorry, All Pro nod alongside Will Anderson,
That's
who's,
what I'm saying, bro.
probably, I think right now he's second in Defensive Player of the Year odds.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Um, of course, that's going to Myles Garrett,
Of
but
course, yeah, he set the record for most
yeah, he
sacks.
set the sack record. But with Will Anderson, Daniil Hunter, Stingley, and Kamari Lassiter, you're talking about you have 4 All Pros just on your defensive side of football.
Oh my gosh, and all of them
You know,
young-ish.
yeah, nobody's over 30. No,
Bro,
nobody. No, well, I lie. Daniil Hunter's 31, but
he's a fit 31 though. He's
yeah, I mean, yeah, he's a young
exit
31.
31.
Yeah, but you got Kamari, who I think is what, 23. You got Stingley, who's 24, 25.
24. Petrie is your elder statesman in the secondary at
Yeah,
26.
yeah, and I think Will is 23, 24 as well. So everybody's young, and you have a lot to build off of. You have a decade worth of play. If everyone stays healthy, you have a decade worth of dominance with at least 3 of these guys. Going into their mid-30s or whatever. But I mean, it's like you brought up Nick Casario. Again, we
Bro,
talked about.
and that's not even counting. We still got two Jalen's injured in Reed and
Yeah,
Smith.
yeah.
We don't know what they gonna do yet.
Yeah, they're going to be excellent guys that are going to come in and keep the team young as well. Like Freeman is talking about. Yes, we're a very young team. But shout out Walter Payton, Man of the Year for the Texans, and Aziz Al-Shaair as well, who's been a pivotal part of this defense, the quarterback of this defense, and he's been very, very needed. I think people don't realize how much of a factor Aziz is in his defense, and he's not even 30. He's
That's
28.
right. That's right, bro. He
Um, it feels like Aziz has been in this league for about 10 years, but Aziz is only 28 years old.
young
So
man.
you look at all of these different things, and you look at the same thing. We just talked about how young the offense is.
Mm,
Um, and so it's so many unsung heroes and unsung players, but at the end of the day, it all goes down and all comes down to the man in charge,
mm-hmm.
and that's good old D'Amico Ryans.
Yep.
D'Amico Ryans has taken this team to places where we didn't think they could be. Um, we, I think a lot of people had the team winning 12 games. This isn't how people thought the 12 games were going to be won, but
Mm,
we got there, and D'Amico Ryans is definitely the main catalyst for it. The
mm,
way he's been able to adjust, and we talked about it again with Matt Burke, how he's been able to adjust and leave things in different people's hands so that he can go and course correct what needed to be corrected on this team, whether it be offensively, special teams, whatever. He's been able to put his hand in a lot of different buckets,
mm.
and that shows the growth with D'Amico Ryans along with this team. So again, we all need to give a good shout out, a good hand clap. Let me find my hand claps, man. Hold on. I'm sounding like Swan on here, man. Um, dude, where's my hand claps? But shout out again, D'Amico Ryans, um, being a very, very strong minded leader. That is definitely it is. Here we go. Now, but shout out to Miko Ryans for being the pivotal leader that we needed for this team,
Mm,
and who is going to make history as being the first Texans coach to win a Super Bowl.
mm. Oh yeah,
Um,
plant the flag.
so D'Amico Ryans definitely is going to lead this team to a Super Bowl, and this is the year, people.
Mm,
This is the year. There is a different aura floating around this team. There's a different, vibe going around with this team. The AFC is wide open, and I think the comment earlier was brought up
mm,
that hey, the Rockets won when Jordan retired.
mm,
You look at it right now. Who's out of the playoffs in the AFC? Lamar Jackson is out of the playoffs. You got freaking Patrick Mahomes did not make the playoffs, and I'm trying to think. There's one
Joe
more.
Burrow.
Joe Burrow.
And
The
you won't even
three,
see Josh Allen till the second round.
yeah, you won't even see Josh Allen to the second round. He may get eliminated in the first round.
Mm. Give me one sec. Keep going. Keep going. Keep
Yeah.
going.
So
Tough TP.
with all that being said, right now is the time. The time is now. And this is a little hype again. We just reviewing the season from this past 2025, regular season, because we got another 4 games to win, y'all. And that's coming soon with the Super Bowl. But this team deserves a lot of credit. This team deserves a lot of praise. And I need our Texan fans to not walk in fear, but walk in faith and walk in strength, because right now this team is primed and positioned to do what needs to be done and win 4 more games and win 13 in a row in the season on a 13-game win streak and be the first ever Houston Texans Super Bowl champion. So we gotta walk not in fear, but walk in faith and walk in strength and confidence, so that we can go ahead as a fan base and just do what needs to be done to handle business.
D'Amico Ryan's the way that he has motivated this team by just being who he is, right? And again, we said it earlier in the stream. This was D'Amico's first year really kind of going through the fire of an NFL season, right? Like he had a rosy first 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like Houston was used to nothing but losing, losing, and more losing, embarrassment and failures. But then D'Amico Ryans gets hired. Even that itself was like amazing because it's like he came from San Fran, a great organization. They were stable, sturdy, and he
Mm-hmm.
came here, right? There
Mm.
was that. Then of course you got CJ Stroud, right? Every coach needs his quarterback. But the way D'Amico Ryans leads this team by just being nothing more than who he is. He's a man of faith. He's a man of character, of high character.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Not only is he a great schematical coach, he's just a great guy, family guy. Like he just leads these men well. If you listen to him in interviews, right? Like I forgot who he just did it with. Was it Lecrae? He
Yeah.
mentioned how his leadership style. He doesn't have to, curse you out, be one of those old school bulldog coaches, right? That tears you down. Like, nah, he's encouraging, but he'll hold you accountable though, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
you can tell by his actions, he's serious about what he talks about. He's the right kind of edge for this team where, he pushes the envelope. He's a competitor. You will never be able to accuse D'Amico Ryans of being overly conservative more often than not.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we might have questions that he's working on, right? But you know, D'Amico Ryans is the right kind of motivator. He's not just a stabilizer coach to install a right. He's not just a stabilizer coach to install a culture. He can do that, but he'll also motivate and lift these guys up and say, okay, you know what the standard is. Now let's go win something. So that's what this is. And the fact that I still remember, and I'm not gonna lie, it kind of like not fear, but we're used to D'Amico being like happy, cheery, like Captain America, right?
Yeah.
When he looked at the media this year and he said, "You good?"
You good?
Like for me, that was like a switch of like, oh, right, like, oh, he's serious because
Mm-hmm.
he's always like just trying to stay positive. But that right there is as close as you'll ever get to probably to D'Amico like losing character, right? And the fact that he's led this team to a 12-5 record. And again, this is the same message. Like nothing flipped, nothing changed. He didn't throw guys under the bus. He took more on himself by trying to do less and, just stayed the same guy for these guys.
Mm-hmm.
I look forward to the post game locker room, speeches. I look forward to those things, right? Like, again, he keeps them focused on the future, saying, hey, listen, don't get complacent. We got more work to do. But hey, yes, let's enjoy the moment. Hey, y'all did that, right? You took what's in front of you, like all these things. And to see these guys really just celebrating each other, happy for each other's accomplishments, and really like anybody. Oh, yeah, absolutely. A whole bunch of talking sideways. But again, the fact that D'Amico handled his first real adversity filled season this well, um, that's only going to prove dividends for the future. Um, the fact that he's so young in his coaching career and he's been through this and he's won while doing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like again, keep in mind they've gone 10-7 playoffs, 10-7 playoffs, started 0-3, finished at 12-5.
Man,
But
10 games wasn't even the people weren't even looking at 10 games. It was
yeah,
like,
bro, listen,
can we just be 8? Can we get to 9?
bro,
Can we get
listen.
8?
And all this man has done is lead these men to clutch victory after clutch victory that they should not have. Whether it's the Cincinnati Bengals game on the road, where you beat Joe Burrow in the first year. Whether it's your first playoff game de facto when you walked into Lucas Oil Stadium, and you beat Gardner Minshew. Granted, I don't care. You beat the Colts in a win and end game in year number 1 to make the playoffs. Then you drop 45 on the number 1 overall defense in the Cleveland Browns in year 1. Then you backdoor that. You had a broken offense, busted O line. You still dropped 32 on the number 1 scoring defense in the Chargers, right? You come the next year, now you're 12-5. You tie the franchise high in wins, and now you got the number 1 defense in football, if not best defense of the 2020s thus far, right? And the message has not changed. Go out, execute one day at a time, do your job, and that's it. And these guys feed into that because they know it works. It's not just like powder puff, cupcake cheerleader talk. They know it works. They see their coach living it and they've adapted to it. And again, it's a huge compliment that players want to come here. Like, we're not used to that. Like, you had guys like DK Metcalf and others who would float Houston as ideas. And no, not everybody came here logistically. But the fact that you got dudes like Tyrann Mathieu, who's well into retirement, saying like, hey, I'll put the pads back on to go back to Houston or something like that, like that's a big deal. Not just for now, but for the future. So that when you're rebuilding this roster, you got guys who are willingly going to be willing to come here. And now you're going to get that Patriot treatment where you got elite players willing to take a little bit less just to
Yeah.
get into your building, to work with that coach, to work with that quarterback. all starting with D'Amico Ryans, and he is young.
Hmm.
So I hope that he's the last coach the Texans have to hire for a good long time. If his
Oh
Lord's
yeah.
will.
Oh
I
yeah.
hope so.
So with that being said, man, great way to end it, Clayton. Um, we just getting started this week, y'all. Um, you'll see me on with Blast Off Entertainment. Y'all see he making rounds with these shorts and interviews during the game, after the game. I'll be on with him tomorrow and Larry and Stafford. So y'all make sure y'all
Ooh.
tune in to that episode. And then
Oh.
we'll return the favor and have Blast Off on Friday as we go ahead and preview this good old playoff run and Super Bowl run against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And we'll break down the little matchups and what we need to do to win the game. I mean, it's kind of simple. Retire Aaron Rodgers and win, but um, he said D'Amico had a Lovie Smith beard. Hey, more power to D'Amico. But again, man, we y'all be sure to tune into the H Town Rundown on all platforms. We got the heat coming this week. It's gonna be a lot of things going on as we go ahead and get ready for this playoff push. But be sure to see me, Larry Stafford, and Blast Off tomorrow on his channel. I'll be promoting that as well. And then of course see me, Clayton and Jules and Blast Off on good old Friday night as we go ahead and preview. And then we got a little special treat on Saturday as well for even more content. So with the content we're gonna be pushing is gonna be heavy for this Super Bowl run. So yeah, shout out Freeman, man, appreciate it,
Freeman.
and shout out Grapha.
Sure. Okay.
Yes sir, yes sir. By God's greatness, yes sir, yes sir. As always, man, we appreciate everybody for tuning in live and those that watch the replay on YouTube and everything, even on Twitter as well. Appreciate everybody. Go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to all our socials. And be sure to be in the loop of all the content we're providing. Make sure you go ahead and check out the H Town Rundown website as well, as we're posting articles and think pieces are there as well. So y'all make sure y'all check that out, and as well sign up to the H Town Rundown Discord. We're starting a community over there as well, and make sure you tap into all those different platforms and socials. Again, thank everybody in the comments. Thank everybody that's been a part of the H Town Rundown this whole regular season, and who's going to be a part of the run to the Super Bowl going forward. And again, this is your boy AD signing off with my co-host Clayton, man, and we will see y'all on the next episode. Peace.